Betsy and Chris, can you guys just, you're so, so the public, can see who you are. Yeah, perfect. Thank you all very, very much. Okay, we are set up right now to begin with the forum for this meeting. So welcome to the Thursday, September 25th, 6:30 p.m. Peninsula Clean Energy Agenda. We now have a forum in-house, and we do have two members that I think are participating via Zoom. Is that correct? All right, so I'll go ahead and call the meeting to order. I don't think we have anyone participating under 82, or did we?
Yeah.
824, okay, 82449. So we're gonna have to go ahead and, no, nothing, we're good.
Yep, we'll just have that person, if it's Dr. Mack, and she is 2449, just cause exemption. And she will share when we get to her if there's any other adults in the room.
Okay,
But with a just cause exemption, no board vote is needed.
okay, fantastic. Great. Thank you very, very much. I will go ahead and open the meeting to public comment.
We gotta do a roll call.
Oh,
We need me first.
Oh, I do. So you got me all excited that you know.
So,
Figure
okay,
that out.
when I call your jurisdiction, if you'll please state your name, San Mateo County.
Steve Sharma.
Yep, San Mateo County. Okay, Atherton. She'll probably be a little late. Belmont, Brisbane,
Colleen Mackin, and there's no person 18 years or older in the room with me. Thank you.
Ash. Burlingame,
Donna Colson.
Polma. Daly City,
Rod Dos Magwell.
East Palo Alto. Foster City,
Stacy Jimenez.
Half Moon Bay,
Patrick Johnson.
Hillsborough,
Leslie Ragsdale.
Los Banos.
Michael Amabile.
Thank you. Menlo Park,
Betsy Nash.
you, Millbrae. Pacifica,
Christine Bowles.
Portola Valley,
Ray Taylor.
Redwood City. San Bruno,
Marty Medina.
San Carlos. San Mateo,
Adam Moran.
South San Francisco. Woodside. And we have a quorum.
All right, thank you very much. We'll move to public comment. Are there any members of the public that would like to address the board on an item that is not on this agenda? Is there anything that was sent in? No?
No.
No? Okay, no one behind me?
There's no hands raised.
Okay, that's your job.
I got your back.
Thank you. You're always fast. Love it. All right, may we please have an action to set the agenda and to approve consent agenda items?
So moved.
Second.
All right, we have a motion by Medina and a second by Taylor. Can we have a roll call vote, please?
Yes, San Mateo County,
Yes.
San Mateo County,
Okay.
Atherton. Belmont,
Aye.
Brisbane,
I don't have it.
I would say aye, but I had a question about something on consent.
Oh, Chair Colson?
Yes.
We have a question for something on consent from Director Mackin.
Okay. But would you like to remove that from consent to have a conversation?
Yes, please.
And which number is it, please?
Number 4, please.
All right, so then I'm gonna need a new motion, please, unless there's anyone else who has anything else they want to remove, or any member of the public. If not, then I'll go ahead and ask the motion makers to amend to include items 1, 2, 3, and 5.
Amended.
So amended, all right, all right. Would you like to go ahead and vote on the 4 items, please, first? If we can take a roll call on that, and then we will have Director Mackin address item number 4, approval of amendments on the record retention policy.
Okay. Starting from the top on the revised motion, San Mateo County,
Yes.
San Mateo County, Atherton, Belmont,
Yes.
Brisbane,
Yes.
Burlingame,
Yes.
Polma, Daly City,
Yes.
East Palo Alto, Foster City,
Yes.
Half Moon Bay,
Yes.
Hillsborough,
Yes.
Los Banos,
Yes.
Menlo Park,
Yes.
Millbrae, Pacifica. Yes. Portola Valley,
Aye.
Redwood City. San Bruno,
Yes.
San Carlos, San Mateo,
Yes.
South San Francisco,
James Coleman, yes.
Woodside. Thank you, and I believe motion passes.
All right, motion carries with those present. Director Mackin, would you like to elaborate on your question for approval of amendments to the record retention policy, item 20D? Or policy 20?
Sure, thank you very much.
Mhm.
Thank you. Not trying to be a stick in the mud on this. A little due diligence, I consulted with a longtime colleague of mine who is a CPA in a firm who specifies in audits of large nonprofits and asked if she thought our records retention policy was comprehensive. And she did have some concerns and referred me to publication done by Stanford Law School that is set out under nonprofitdocuments.law.stanford.edu. Did we consult anyone about whether under financial guidelines we're in compliance with these guidelines?
I'm gonna turn that over to our attorney.
Yeah, absolutely. I drafted the records retention policy and also adopted it from Marin Clean Energy. It's also been vetted by internally in the organization, although I haven't reviewed the document that you're referencing. So I would have to look at what it has to say to be able to know compliance in that regard. Is there?
I just wanted to make sure that we, if we're going to adopt this, that we really have gone over every single item, in that the points that I could get back to you later that she made were that some of these documents for nonprofits typically have to be held longer.
Well, technically, we're not.
Yeah, we're not a
501c3.
Understood.
So I think the purview of law is not, I also sit on the board and on an audit committee on a 501c3. I think it's a different set, and correct me if I'm wrong, because I'm not an attorney, but I believe that there are different standards of retention and document.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a little difficult to address a specific question without knowing which category we're talking about. So do you have a specific category that your source had concerns about?
I just wanted to bring it up. I don't want to get into the weeds. And if you feel comfortable that we've thoroughly done due diligence, I'm okay with that. I just felt compelled to ask the question whether we went through and really verified this and how we approached it. So I'm
Yeah.
okay with it. It sounds like you've gone
Yeah,
through
we
that.
certainly have. And I also want to reiterate that I am not infallible. So if there are edits to the policy, or we want to go back in the future, whether it be a month from now or 6 months from now, based on new information, we can certainly do that. It's really important that we get a comprehensive policy up and active within the organization. And that's what our goal is here. Just to give you a little bit of reference into the process for drafting this. I did meet with each individual director within the organization to kind of talk about their categories of documents, as well as cross-referencing, as I mentioned earlier, other CCAs and the county's record retention policy.
So just to advance this item, what I would like to suggest, if Director Mackin, if this would be all right, is that I think it is important to get this records retention policy approved, and waiting another 30 days is probably not it's probably better to get it approved today. And then if you would like to share with council the specific concerns you have, we can always add an amendment at a future date after we've had an opportunity to vet it. And this is a fluid policy, and we're always open to changes and enhancements and betterment. But it's better to get something on record than and continue to evolve it, if that would be the pleasure of the board. Okay. Would that be your pleasure, Director Mackin?
Absolutely, absolutely. I felt compelled to ask the question,
we're
so I'm fine
grateful.
with that.
For your incredibly diligent reading and work. Eli, you're the best. So we,
Number 4?
yes, so what we'll need is a motion to approve item number 4.
So moved.
Okay, thank you very much, Director Taylor. I'll second. We have a second by Director Jimenez, yes. Okay, and we're gonna take a vote, but I'm just gonna make quick comments here. We had Director Coleman join us just in this last item. Thank you very much. We're grateful you're here. And down there.
Well, Director
Mayor, on this side,
Oh.
Stacy,
Atherton.
Stacy from Atherton. Tell me how to say it again, Stacy. Holland. Stacy Holland.
Can't see.
Atherton.
And
And we also
Yeah.
have Mayor Harrison, who just joined us, and I do not believe you've been sworn in yet.
I thought I was.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
she is sworn in.
Yes.
Okay, great.
Actually,
Excellent.
a year ago, last year.
Yeah.
Okay, fantastic. So everybody has been sworn in and can vote officially, correct, Nellie?
Yeah.
Okay, great.
I believe so.
All right,
Okay.
so we'll go ahead
Also.
and take a roll call vote. We have a motion by Director Taylor, a second by Director Jimenez.
San Mateo County,
Yes.
San Mateo County, Atherton,
Yes.
Belmont,
Aye.
Brisbane,
Yes,
Burlingame,
Yes.
Colma, Daly City,
Yes.
East Palo Alto,
Yes.
Foster City,
Yes.
sorry, Half Moon Bay,
Yes.
Hillsborough,
Yes.
Los Banos,
Yes.
Menlo Park,
Yes.
Millbrae, Pacifica,
Yes.
Portola Valley,
Aye.
Brentwood City, San Bruno,
Yes.
San Carlos, San Mateo,
Yes.
South San Francisco,
Yes.
Woodside. Yeah, motion carries.
All right, thank you very much. Moving on to the chair report, the only thing that I have to report are my favorite, the commit, and we just had, Director Hum has just joined us.
Thank you.
Our favorite committee for the review of committees. Continues to meet and do work, and we are looking forward to sending something off to the CAC on October 8th. In addition, I also just note that the staff came and collaborated with, I think, the Chamber of Commerce in Burlingame on an event, and I got rave. So, just really good work. And with that, I have any public comment on the CEO report? Seeing none, we'll close public comment. And we're gonna move to the CEO report, CEO Marshall.
I am trying to click, Nellie. I'm not gonna miss this. When eventually we,
Get our text solved.
yeah. One more, please. There you go. Okay, first of all, welcome back. It's been since July, that we gathered here, and so welcome to the fall. It's kind of amazing how the time flies. So we're gonna keep this quick because tonight's meeting and the next meeting, are a bit longer because we had the month of August off. So I'll just go straight to some really great news to share on Saturday. We had a ribbon cutting at the Bayview Terrace apartments. And it celebrated 143 EV chargers being installed in that multifamily complex. That is one charger per lot, per parking space. And it's really quite remarkable. It was done PCE sponsored it and at no charge to Bayview HOA. It is the largest multifamily EV charger installation on the West Coast. And I do want to thank Mayor Fung, who was there and provided remarks. Vice Mayor Medina, Rick DeGolia was there. We had Representative Pappen. We had representatives from Congressman Mullen's office. PUC Commissioner Matt Baker got his own personal tour. Thank you to Philip for that. And I think really came away impressed, etc. So I'm gonna just share a couple of quick items. We can pass this around. This right here is what is all the fuss is about. And what's really cool about this is that it is a level 1 charger. We've talked about right sizing. And the reasons why right sizing makes sense. You don't have to upgrade the panel. It's low cost charging. But what's great about this is that this also comes with an option for low level, level 2. So that if somebody wants to pay a little bit more premium to get a faster charge, they have the option at every one of those parking spaces. So it's pretty cool, I must say. So I'm gonna pass that around. And then the other thing I'll pass around is we did get a very nice proclamation from the state legislature for this effort. And so I feel that it's being noticed. It was on the news, was picked up in the press. So hats off once again to our stellar EV team led by Philip Kobernick and Melanie Jasper. Okay, thanks everybody for coming. Next is some more good news. Just last night, our own Nick Peter was in New York. He was there for it. I know, and he's here tonight. He might fall asleep now. He was there for a conference actually on prepays, which is a topic we'll be discussing here in another month or so. And it just so happened at the same time, there was New York Climate Week is going on right now. PCE, in partnership with Silicon Valley Clean Energy, was awarded an Electric Innovation Award for our reach code work and for our EV charging program. So it was great that it just dovetailed with his trip and he could be there to attend. Thank you, Nick. Also want to let you all know, I think many of you are aware that our self-generation incentive program, which essentially puts batteries on income qualified homes. We were having some trouble at the PUC getting that program authorized. Thankfully, there was a proposed decision made. It clears the way for us to now begin enrolling, I believe, over 200, correct? 200 low-income customers in that program to receive these benefits at no cost to them and no cost to us. So hats off to Shalini, Yana, and the whole team that really pushed to make that happen. From Roy's team, corner of the world, we signed a couple of PPAs, one of which this board approved in July. This is the Darden 3-4 solar plus storage contract. That was signed last month. And then we just signed a 5-year deal, 13.5 megawatts wind project in Kern County. This did not come to the board because it falls under the 5-year cap, but it was approved by the Risk Oversight Committee that we put in place in January. So, and wind is a very important resource for us, so we grabbed it. Last thing to quickly let you know is that we are continuing on and I think coming to a decision very soon on new office facilities. And we've looked at probably 25 different options here over the last 6 months and we're down to 3. But really as of today, down to 1. Because, and they're all in San Mateo. Can I say the address? I can say the address, right?
Yes, sir.
The front runner right now is 400 South El Camino Real. The price is extremely good, competitive with where we are now. The location is far superior next to public transit. And it's just an overall larger, better setup for us to reconfigure the space in the way that we need now. So we will be bringing a recommendation to the executive committee first and then to your board in October. But I'm really happy to report that it took a while, but it's coming together. All right, just briefly, I think all of you know that we are working on a couple of microgrid applications. A community microgrid is essentially a tool for resilience. In high power outage areas, it connects critical facilities in the community. And there is money that is set aside at the state, administered through the PUC, for projects that meet certain criteria, including underserved communities, rural communities, and there are a number of other. So for us, we've zeroed in on Pescadero and Half Moon Bay. We are working on those applications now. We are putting them together as a partnership between PCE and the lead, PG&E, and the county for Pescadero and the city for Half Moon Bay. This will be brought to your board in November for approval. So we've got to have board approval in order to submit the application. But it's very exciting work. This is the advanced energy work that we've been dreaming and talking about for quite a while. It's very important to coast side supervisors whose constituents struggle with power outage. So more to come on this one. We did have a chance to tour Pescadero and the proposed different sites at the front end of our staff retreat last month, and it was just very exciting. So more to come on that, but moving ahead. A couple of board education events. So for those of you who are new to the board, and I know there's many of you, Nick now is working on our second prepay project, which essentially allows us to save money on power purchase agreements that we've already entered into. It's a financial transaction. It's relatively complex. So we're going to have a briefing for new board members and anyone else who's interested in learning more. I know Director McCune, you were interested because I think maybe you weren't here yet when we did this last year. So a doodle is being sent, I think, tonight to new board members, and please respond and we'll get that scheduled. The KISO tour, if you haven't been, it is worth your day. It's a great tour. It's the next one is scheduled for Thursday, the 13th. Please let Nellie know if you'd like to go. We will provide busing and lunch, and it's a great field trip. And then the last one of the year will be Diablo Canyon tour. This one has been a heavier lift. It isn't overnight because it's much further down. So that's scheduled for Thursday and Friday, the 11th and 12th of December. So please, again, be in touch with Nellie if you or your board alternate would like to go. Okay, really quick overview. I'm very excited about this year's retreat, which is next month. A reminder that it starts at 5:30 because it's our annual retreat. It goes a little longer. So Chair Colson asked several months ago that we consider getting an industry speaker in to really ground us in what's happening today, globally, nationally, and in the state with respect to all power. And not only just renewable, carbon free, but like just industry writ large, nuclear, all of it. And what are the trends? And then, so we'll start sort of from a macro perspective and bring it down. He's partnering with Roy so that we can understand what those macro trends mean for a small agency like us. PCE represents only 1% of California's load, but still we have to make cogent decisions because it has a ripple effect in our industry. So very exciting. Chris Seifel from Wood Mackenzie will join us. And then we have an approval of a PPA. And then the bulk of the night is going to be spent on the evolution of our agency. I mean, so many of you know we've already been at this for the last couple of years. We've expanded our staff team. We've significantly expanded our functions, our internal and external controls. So PCE 2.0 is kind of what we call it internally. We'll be talking about 5-year agency goals with the idea that the strategic plan will come to the board for adoption in November. The new office space, as I mentioned, will come to this board for hopefully approval. We are going to be hopefully bringing you a new agency name. We're going to talk a little bit about that tonight and why we're even talking about that. And then some really fun ideas for 10-year agency planning, and because we're going to be a decade old in 2026. So more to say about that, and then some fun exercises around board open discussion. So it'll be a full night, but I think quite relevant to our next year and the next 5 years. Okay, here's all of our community events this coming up month. This is also on our website. We want to welcome Steve Campbell, who joined us August 19th in Innovation Strategy. Desi Lim, who's our second data engineer. She will be joining us October 2nd. This probably is old news by now, but I do want to congratulate formally Yana Kopachok-Landa, who joined us 18 months ago as an assistant or an associate director. She was promoted to director of the new Department of Innovation Strategy. We are just wrapping up the interviews for general counsel. That recommendation will be going to the executive committee in October, and then hopefully board approval at the October board meeting. And then we have an open position for an associate manager or a manager of energy, distributed energy resources and energy programs. So that is the staffing update here. Just a quick heads up that audit and finance and executive committee fall on a Tuesday next month because of Indigenous Peoples' Day. And that wraps it up.
All right, thank you very much. Does anyone have a question or comment for our CEO? Right?
May I just allow for us to get a round of applause to those who've been promoted and new
Yeah.
people in our firm?
Thank you, Director Lorraine. Is there any member of the public who would like to add a comment? All right, no hands. So there's no vote, this is an informational item, and next we have our friend Diane Bailey, who's gonna give an update on SCAC. She here? No. No Diane Bailey? Okay. So we will move past that. Is she on there now? No?
There's somebody listed here with just a phone number. I'm not sure if that is Diane. But let me just unmute them. I told you.
Can we keep going in the meantime?
Yeah, we can hit one item now. All right, good. We'll move on to item number 9. Maybe Nelly, you can just chat with them. Update on our legislative activities. Mark Hirschman, our Director of Legislative Affairs, and is Mark here today?
He is, he is, in person.
Two marks for the crisis.
Yes.
Oh, there he is. Hi, good to see you. Okay.
Good evening, directors. Mark Hirschman, Director of Government Affairs. Delighted to be here to share with you, present to you Mark Fenstermaker, Principal and Founder of Pacific Policy Group. For those of you who have been with us for a while, you know that every September after the legislative session concludes in Sacramento, we invite Mark down to give us a briefing on what has happened, transpired in the year prior. And this year was quite a year. Just to give you a little bit of perspective, there were over 100 energy related bills. We lost count at 110 plus. That's roughly a 50% or more increase over prior years. And so Mark does an amazing job helping us track all the bills and weigh in and helps us formulate our responses and formulate bill amendments and things that we want to put forward. And so it's been a terrific working partnership over the years. And so I'm delighted to present Mark Fenstermaker, who will share some thoughts about the last legislative session in Sacramento.
Oh, are you done?
There we go. Thank you, Mark, and thank you to the board for having me here this evening. Really happy to be here. Can't believe it's already been a year since I did this last time. This was a wild legislative session. Thinking back on it, there are a number of 4-letter words I won't use here, but they would all sum up what happened over the last 9 months, particularly the last month, pretty well. I'm going to keep this mostly positive, but I'm going to start on the negative, which is the state budget. Just to give you that snapshot, because the budget is really at the foundation of everything that happens in Sacramento. Year started out with some relatively positive news. Seemed like we were going to have a slight surplus. It was really a deficit, but we had enough funds to borrow to cover that deficit. But then we had the fires. We had a number of things happen at the federal level. And you can see in that LA Times headline there that where things ended up was about a $12 billion budget deficit that was covered up through a series of cuts and borrowing. But the scarier, more concerning thing is that chart from the LAO, which shows the next 2 or 3 years where things continue to get worse. And I believe that chart came out before the federal bill passed in July. So budget situation is a question mark and not one that we expect to get any better. But moving on and talking about the end of session. So end of session, Mark talked about over 100 energy bills, but they can really be all summed up in these 5, which all were bouncing off of each other at the end of session. And it kind of looked like this when it came to all the different negotiations. Most pertinent to PCE would be SB 254 by your Senator Josh Becker, as well as AB 825 by Assembly Member Cotty Petrie Norris, who is the chair of the Assembly's Utilities and Energy Committee. I'll start with AB 825. This bill essentially took over what was SB 540, the Pathways, Regional Organization, Regional Grid Bill. Senator Becker did end up being a joint author on the bill, so his name is on there. It was a very last minute change. All of these bills were being negotiated literally through the night by leadership staff and the governor's office. Past the deadline that the legislature had set for itself to do amendments. So they went overtime to get this done. And part of that negotiation ended up where 540 switched over to be AB 825. I'll just say that part of the language says that California cannot join this new regional organization until 2028. SB 254, a much more complicated bill. This was really more the affordability package of legislation. The key feature here is that it recapitalizes the wildfire fund. That's the utilities insurance pool. It extends it out to 2045. It's $18 billion on a 50-50 split between ratepayers and shareholders. It also requires the utilities to spend $6 billion more on wildfire spend without getting a return on the equity. It also allows for public financing of transmission projects and calls for acceleration of those projects. And then lastly, it has some key features about accelerating energization and trying to hold the utilities more accountable for that. AB 1207, this extends California's cap and trade program, key feature of our climate goals. What's notable here is that there is some language shifting how the IOUs receive credits back, and it's going to try to maximize those credits back to ratepayers. And now it's going to be the top 4 months of usage is when customers will see those credits show up on their bills. SB 840 deals with the revenue that comes out of cap and trade. It's going to continue to fund the high-speed rail. Instead of on a percentage basis, it will now be on a flat $1 billion every year. This is going to allow high-speed rail to securitize against that $1 billion, and maybe the project can get at least the first lane done. And then lastly, SB 237. This was very curious because the last couple of years I've come up here and talked about special sessions where the governor has really gone after the oil companies and their record profits and the high prices. And this year we saw the legislature and the governor decide that the oil industry needed help, cleared a number of environmental permitting requirements for more drilling, particularly in Kern County. This was mainly due to the oil refineries, 2 of which might be going offline, and the oil industry coming to Sacramento saying that we're going to see $8 a gallon for gas. And the response was, okay, we're going to help you increase supply. All right, I'm going to drill in a little bit more to some of the work that we really focused on. Talked about your amazing level 1 project that just had the ribbon cutting this week. One of the key efforts we undertook was trying to get more funding for level 1 out of the state. And so Mark and Philip came to Sacramento last October. We did a series of meetings. Shalini came a couple months later. We did a series of meetings. We continued to talk and eventually worked with Assemblymember Jackie Irwin out of the Santa Barbara area. She helped us get a letter into the CEC. The problem here was that the 2 programs you see, those images on the left, those are the key funding programs from the state for EV charging. The rules of the program said that they would not fund level 1 charging at individual parking stalls. And through all of our advocacy, we got them to change their mind. And in the round that is now out for release, will fund level 1 charging stalls. So we're hoping to see your pilot, your model really scale out to the rest of the state, which is really exciting. And I was really happy to get Philip's email with a lot of exclamation marks once we saw that we had pulled this off. Sean stole a little bit of the thunder on the SGIP update, but this was not only a very strong effort by staff at the PUC, but also did require some lobbying at the Capitol. Senator Weiner was a key champion for us. There was a strong coalition of CCAs working with him. He was floating draft language around the budget. We had a series of meetings with the governor's office, Department of Finance, laying out what the problem was, why CCA customers were being locked out. And as Sean noted, the lock has been opened. We did play a little bit of defense. One of the bills, AB 825, before it morphed into the CAISO Regional Organization Bill, Chair Petrie Norris continues to look at her issues with public purpose program charge programs, including energy efficiency. She had run a bill at the end of last session, kind of digging into investigating the different types of PPP energy efficiency programs that are being run throughout the state. She had proposed this demand side management council, and it was going to evaluate all customer side programs, including programs that are self-funded by CCAs. And then the council could suggest recommendations, actually require implementation of those recommendations. So this was the only bill we actually opposed this year. And we were successful in keeping this provision out of that end of session scrum I noted at the beginning. So a key win on the defense side. And now I'm gonna switch to looking ahead. The biggest news is that Senator Mike McGuire, who's been the Senate Pro Tem for the last 18 months, has been officially replaced, at least by votes, by Senator Monique Lamone from Santa Barbara. She will take over in November. And there's been some strong rumors about at least a couple of the committee chairs, as well as the majority leader. I'm not going to get into those names, but what we're all going to be waiting for is the musical chairs that will then happen thereafter. And typically when we see leadership changes, we do see committee chairs change across the board, and would not be surprised to see full sail change of Senate committee chairs and Senate committee membership. All right, last slide. This is going to be the other big theme for next year. Governor Newsom is on his way out. Typically we would think about a governor in their last year as being a lame duck, but I don't think we would consider Governor Newsom a lame duck for this final year, given everything that he is pushing beyond just California's borders and the way the legislature is working with him. So it is going to be another interesting year in Sacramento, and I look forward to working on everything for you all. And thank you for continuing to keep me on.
Thank you.
And I am happy to answer any questions.
Does anyone have questions for either of the marks? Yes, Director Axel.
Quick question, and apologize if I did read the packet, but there's so much that I think I missed this for the demand side management. I did remember reading about the wing, but I can't remember, is that turned into like a 2-year bill, or is that gone for now?
It is effectively gone.
Okay.
It was not picked up anywhere else in legislation. The Assemblywoman could very well bring it back next year in a different bill. But at least in terms of being in print, it's nowhere to be seen.
Okay.
Yeah.
Other questions? Yes.
I don't think there was any discussion of the AB 306 that became SB 130, but just checking if there's any hope of something being reintroduced for notifications there.
I wouldn't hold out a lot of hope, to be honest. That was a key priority of Speaker Rivas, and he will continue to be the speaker in the assembly. There were some, I think, helpful exceptions that were amended into the final version of the bill when it changed from 306 to 130, and I think that was a lot of the Senate's pushback. That's where we had really focused our advocacy at that point. So I think that was kind of the small give to try and satisfy a lot of the concerns they were hearing.
All right. Any more members? Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Well, let me wait, any members of the public, I've already, any members of the public that have comments or questions? Seeing no one. We'll go ahead and close that item, and we are going to move back to item 3. I believe we have Diane Bailey on the phone.
Yes. Okay, Diane, I am unmuting, but if you're having any difficulties, you can should be able to dial *6 on your phone's dial pad, and it should toggle your view status.
Good evening. Can you hear me?
Yes, we
Thank
can.
you.
Thank you, Diane.
Thank you so much for accommodating me this evening. Good evening, and thank you, Chair Colson and Honorable Peninsula Clean Energy Board members, staff, and members of the community. My name is Diane Bailey. I'm a Community Advisory Committee member giving this report today on behalf of Jason Mendelson, our chair. He's unavailable to be here this evening, as is our vice chair, Kathleen Goforth. I'm delighted to share what occurred at our PCE Community Advisory Committee meeting on September 11th of this month on behalf of Jason, and he apologizes for not being able to attend today. First, the Community Advisory Committee heard a presentation from Shalini Swarup, Chief Operating Officer. She introduced the proposed 5-year strategic policy goals for PCE. The Community Advisory Committee made the following unanimous recommendations to PCE's Board of Directors. First, we ask that you include the following phrases in the mission statement: climate crisis, greenhouse gas emissions, and clean renewable energy. We also recommended that you provide more information about the metrics in the environmental impact goal and consider a higher target for the greenhouse gas emissions reductions. We recommend retaining the strength of the 2021 greenhouse gas reduction goal commitment. The CAC would also like to achieve 100% brand awareness, and several smaller items. We encourage you to rewrite the phrase carbon-free future in the vision statement and fix a run-on sentence on economic development. Next, the CAC received an update from Shalini Swarup on the implementation of PCE's Diversity, Equity, Accessibility, and Inclusion, or DEAI, action plan. The Community Advisory Committee made a unanimous recommendation to PCE's board. The CAC thanks Kirsten Andrews-Schwind and the DEAI Council for their work on the DEAI action plan and hopes that it continues in the future. Next, the CAC received a report from Kirsten Grun, Associate Director of Marketing, on the rebranding and agency naming project, including the naming process and creative framework. The CAC then received reports from its working groups, including the Marketing Strategy Working Group from committee member Cheryl Schaff, Transportation Electrification Programs Working Group from committee member Remy Tan, and the Building Electrification Programs Working Group from committee member John McKenna. I'd like to thank all of the members and working groups for their tireless work in all of these areas. Finally, the CAC discussed upcoming topics to pursue. There is a lot of work ahead, and we are eager to take it on. Thanks very much for your time.
Okay, does anyone have questions for Ms. Bailey? Okay, thank you very much. Members of the public, anyone have a question or comment on our CAC report? Okay, seeing none, thank you very much, Diane, for joining us this evening. We appreciate it, and we'll go ahead and close that item. So we are going to move on to item number 10, which is a discussion on Peninsula Clean Energy AI Chatbot, a new tool for customers discussion. Jaden Hannon, Account Service Specialist, and Leslie Brown, Director of Account Services. Bonus. No.
I'm gonna set this one up.
Okay.
I just want to quickly ground us in this is going to be a very brief report. But there's 2 reasons that we're bringing it to you tonight as just an informational item. One is that this is just another demonstration of us really doubling down on customer service and access to information. And then the second sort of overarching theme here is, as you know, as an organization, we're really diving into how we use AI appropriately and also effectively. So we've got AI guidelines that we've recently adopted internally. This is an example of how we can use it for customer service. And we're now starting to talk with HR team about using AI as sort of a filtering question around new staffing requests. And, you know, have we really tapped the AI opportunities going forward? So that just gives you the broader context. This is Jaden's first presentation to the board, and we do this as an opportunity. I also want to just thank Jaden for all the work she does behind the scenes with our customer care team. It's quite amazing. So, play Jaden.
Sean. Good evening, everyone. So yeah, my name is Jaden Hannon. I am the account services specialist, supervised by Leslie Brown. And today we'll be going over our new tool, which is our AI chatbot, which we'll be introducing in the coming months. So first we'll go over what the AI chatbot is. We have a quick demo video, and then at the end we will have time for questions. So what is the AI chatbot? You can think of it as a question and answer tool that customers will be able to use by visiting our website. So there will be a little widget in the bottom of the website. It pulls up a screen and you can type a question, and the question will be answered by AI software. This will be available 24/7, so it's not limited by our business hours. It's available weekends, holidays, even when staff aren't working, which is a huge plus for us. We don't see this as a replacement for our current customer service offerings, but more of an enhancement. Like Sean was saying, it's low barrier to entry, and customers can receive instant responses. And this also has multilingual capabilities, so it will not be limited by just the languages that our staff currently know. So here is a quick demo video. It might be a little, oops.
Where's the play? Maybe we need to play it. Okay, I skipped in. There we go.
Loading.
Okay, yeah, so that widget on the bottom is how the chatbot is opened. It will have some suggested prompts. So just to start, I went with, how does Peninsula Clean Energy benefit me? The AI thinks for a while, and then we'll come up with a response. And just kind of an FYI, this is how it looks because it's currently only internal facing. So when we launch it to our customers, the background will be our website. So you'll see the response includes cost savings, higher renewable energy content, and community reinvestment. And then it also links sources from where the AI pulled the information from. So that will have links to our web pages or articles that have information related to the question asked, if the customer is looking for more information. I also asked it, how do I get credit for solar if I have NEM? Another like common customer question comes up with an answer. Basically, we get monthly credits that are added to the PCE NEM credit balance. Credits are based on retail value. But you'll notice these questions are kind of our most commonly asked questions that aren't account specific. Since the chatbot does not have access to customer data, it just has access to the information that we've specifically fed to it, which is just our website, as well as we call them knowledge base articles. And those are documents with information related to various topics, including NEM programs, things like that. Another question, there's an outage, what should I do? It gives some advice on what to do during an outage, as well as PG&E's contact information. And also another note, the chatbot does not learn from the previous conversations it has with customers. It's only learning from those knowledge base articles on our website. So it is protecting customer data in that way. Even if a customer provides their data, it's not going to learn from that in future conversations with other customers. And then last question, do we provide rebates for e-bikes? It will answer with the general information. We have $1,000 rebate for Carefera customers, and also has information on how to apply for that rebate. The main thing is that they're kind of more general questions and no account specific information is given. So that is the chatbot in a nutshell. We're going to follow the chatbot launch with the launch of a live chat feature. So that's similar. It's a question and answer tool, but that will be staffed by our customer service team. So there will be live staff responding to those questions instantly. So it is limited by business hours, but it will be able to answer account-specific questions. For example, what is my rebate status? What rate schedule am I on? What is my NEM credit balance? Things like that we get a lot. And again, low barrier to entry. You just have to type a question on the website, and it will shoot out an immediate answer. And yeah, so the chat bot will be launching in the coming months, before the end of November. And then the live chat, we're targeting to launch Q1 of 2026. Yeah.
Any questions for Jaden?
Yes, sorry, Director Taylor.
How much context does it have? Is it just the questions and answers you loaded? Like, going back to your e-bike example, could I ask, am I eligible? And would it continue a conversation with me and work me through that? Or is it literally just, you got to make canned responses and it goes into that funnel and get that response?
Yeah, that's a good question. It's not canned responses. So if you did ask, am I eligible, it would provide information about what qualifies people for eligibility. But since it doesn't have account specific information, it can't tell you if you're on CARE or FARA. So it wouldn't necessarily be able to tell you affirmatively if you are.
But it could explain
It can
what that
explain,
was.
yeah.
Nice. Oh, great. Thank you.
Yes, correct.
So, you mentioned that the chatbot is able to accept different languages. Let's say someone typed in a different language out of English, does it reply in the same language?
Yeah,
That was,
yeah, it will reply in the language that it's asked the question in.
Yes, sure.
So there's a lot of AI models that exist out there. How did we land on Happy Fox?
Yeah, that's a good question. So Happy Fox is the software that we currently use for our email management, that our customer service team uses. So it was just an add-on software that was available to us. And we did a demo of it earlier this year and we liked how it was functioning. So that's why we moved forward with Happy Fox.
Great, and then the other thing is, if someone logs into the chatbot and asks weird questions or I guess abusive questions, how does the bot handle that?
Yeah, if it doesn't know the answer, it will just say that it doesn't have information related to it if it's really off topic and not related to anything in our database. But it doesn't pull from the internet. It just can pull from what we have, or it will say that it doesn't know the answer.
Great, thank you.
I think the other thing just to key off, it tracks all of the conversation. So it keeps a history. And then if that customer calls in, the CSR has access to all of that history through the chatbot. So it's actually enhancing, yeah.
Yes.
One more thing.
Oh, sure.
That's all right.
Director.
So I've been on chatbots and different websites before. I get like really frustrated if I do something that's like, that probably requires a human being. And so like how, is it easy to access, I guess, an email or phone number from that?
Yeah, that's a good question. So once the live chat launches, if you at any point want to speak to one of our live CSAs, it will just have a ticket creation option right there. Also, if you notice, there's a thumbs up and thumbs down feature currently. So even when we initially launch the chatbot in the next month or so, if you do a thumbs down, it will give you the option to create a ticket. And a ticket is just an email to our team, and they'll answer it within the next couple of days.
Great, thank you.
Yes, I'm gonna do Director Barry.
This sounds very, very exciting. But I also wanted to know, and I think Ms. Marshall also tapped in a little bit in the fact that it will record the history of the customers coming in and asking the questions. Will we as a board, or maybe your team, will they also have the data to compare like where the company needs to fine tune some of its services and stuff like that? Like, how will it be quantified or collected, that data? And
Yeah.
if we will be like in the near future, we will have a presentation to see how it's going, what's the most common like mistakes or questions or requests that they're asking.
Yeah, so within Happy Fox, there are a variety of reports we can run from the chatbot. And the AI will give us trending topics, so residential energy programs or solar billing, for example. And if those are being more frequently asked, we can see that.
the chatbot also tells us any coverage opportunities we have. So if it feels that there's not enough information on, for example, solar billing plan, it will show that as a coverage opportunity, and we can kind of learn from that and see what our customers are most curious or confused about.
Thank you. Great. Director White?
Thank you. I was just, I was maybe seeking a little clarification or explanation, elaboration on what is being captured. Because I felt actually during the presentation and through the packet that it seems like we're not capturing seems like account specific information. So I guess I was confused, Sean, by what you mentioned, and can I, if that's the case, then I feel like from Director Barragan's question, I get the sense that one thing we are retaining is some basic information on all users, questions and so on, that's not necessarily tied to a single user. But if that's the case, like what information from a single user are we retaining? And as maybe Sean, were you referring to the live chat as opposed to the?
It's two things and then please chime in. So
Yes, sorry.
with the chatbot, it is not, we're not taking account information 24/7. It's I believe a customer data privacy and security matter. That will be permitted though when we do the live chat, because there's a CSR, a live person who's protecting that data on the other end. I believe that the conversation history is captured for context for use by the CSR to help the person as we go. But I don't know if there's more you want to say about that. Did I get that right, Jaden?
Yeah, exactly. So for the chatbot, there's no identifying information captured, just for the live chat. Once the CSAs are in that conversation and they can see previously what has been said. So if, for example, if they go from the AI chatbot to a live chat, they can see the entire chat log from before that.
So they don't have to repeat the whole thing. It's kind of the effort there to field check.
So it goes with the ticket piece of.
Yeah.
What do you think
I
about
think
it?
maybe what you're concerned about is there's not gonna be a log attached permanently to a customer's account, right? So like if a customer calls up, a month from now, there's not gonna be a
Right.
log of like them anonymously asking the chatbot
Yeah.
questions. That's not
Yeah.
gonna be there.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
So it's
I
almost, it seems like it might be within the same
Instance.
experience.
Yeah.
If someone switches from
Yeah.
the chatbot to live chat, or maybe hits the down thumb and gets a ticket, there might be some retaining of
Yeah.
information that would be relevant to the reasoning behind those switches or something.
Yeah.
Otherwise, it might get wiped, or it wouldn't be associated.
It's not associated with the particular user
Well,
or
'cause they're
the
not
particular
putting their
customer
name.
asking a question.
Right.
Yeah.
But we are able to track trends and information that comes off of it. So it's actually a good feedback loop. Just for another data point.
Thank you.
Thanks.
All right, any other questions, or members of the public have any questions, Nelly? Okay, thank you very much, Jaden, very nice report. I will move to item 11, an update on the 2025 REACH codes. This is the discussion item, and we have Blake Hirschkopf here, our senior programs engineer. Hi, Blake.
Hello, everyone. My name is Blake Hirschkopf. Thank you so much. I'm our senior programs engineer. I'm here tonight to talk about REACH codes. I manage our REACH codes program. I've been working with Raphael and Philip on this program since 2018. I've been working in decarbonization for 20 years, and this is one of the most impactful programs I've worked on. So I've been really happy and fortunate, thanks to our member agencies, to putting this program together. This presentation is a sneak preview of what may come to your councils over the next 6 months or so. I'm gonna kind of fly through this. There could be a lot of content here, but we have a full meeting tonight, so I'm available anytime with questions you might have, and so are our consultants. Can you put Farhad up? Are you able to do that? So we have one of our consultants online in case there's a question. His name's Farhad. In case there's questions at the end.
Is it working? Hey, Nellie? Oh, Brianna's on it. It's just not advancing.
You know. That's fine for you.
It's not advancing.
I really dislike this clicker.
We're gonna get a much better color.
We are.
I mean, it looks like it's on.
This thing you made?
Oh my God, now it's.
There we go.
Finally.
All right.
The real problem is the pillar in between the podium and where Brianna's at.
Okay.
In a future
Maybe
office,
we need an
perhaps
office.
we won't have.
Yeah, maybe we need a new setup.
Yeah, we set that up, set that up.
Geez, that was subtle, friends. What's that?
You should move, because that's the reason you're having problems.
Is all that radiation coming through me?
So you should aim it at Brianna,
Yeah, yeah,
not this spring.
All right, now I'm really gonna fly. I'm gonna go through our reach codes background, context specific to 2025. The model reach codes that we've developed, that you're able to use, the greenhouse gas emission savings from different reach codes options, and then any questions you might have. For background, the California has a building code that is updated every 3 years. The last update was 2022. We're currently in the 2025 building code cycle. Every time it's readopted, any reach codes associated need to be readopted. All your cities are likely currently adopting the 2025 building code now, which will go into effect January 1st, 2026. There are 12 parts of the code. We really focus on the energy code and the green building code. What are reach codes? Reach codes are local ordinances adopted by local government that can exceed and enhance the state's building standards. The ones we help develop model codes for emphasize common sense, cost-effective options to reduce greenhouse gas emissions, save your constituents money. They can happen at the time of new construction, alterations, additions, or equipment replacement. A real focus here is heat pumps. You're going to see a two-way AC. So I want to describe what a heat pump is. You likely all have one in your home. Your refrigerator has a heat pump in it. We talk about heat pump water heaters a lot. And when it comes to air conditioners, there's a little piece you can put in your air conditioner that you can only do when you buy it. You can't retrofit it, called a reversing valve. So we're going to add one more thing to pass around. There you go. And if you specify, you can imagine that's very small, it's not very expensive. If you specify your air conditioner with this, it can run backward and heat your home with clean energy. The benefits of reach codes in all electric buildings, they support climate health and indoor health. Indoor gas stoves have found to be a major link to asthma, especially in childhood, and it helps reduce climate risk as well. There's cost savings. Heat pumps are cheaper, especially with our rebate, than a combination of an air conditioner and a gas furnace. They also save $200 or more in utility bills per year over gas appliances, especially if you're on the right rate. And they can be forward thinking and future proofing. Some things you're going to see in here like electric readiness, help residents get their homes ready for upcoming rules. For instance, some air district rules that are going to require all electric equipment, and California's goal to be carbon neutral by 2045. So for the past 7 years, we've been providing technical support for our member agencies. That's in the form of model ordinances and staff reports, adoption assistance, implementation assistance. And we also have a technical assistance program for contractors and developers that don't know how to build all electric. You can find more information at bayareareachcodes.com. We work with our sister agency, Silicon Valley Clean Energy, on this program, and our technical consultant on the program has been TRC. They've been greatly assistance, and they can show up at your city council meetings to help or present if you'd like. From 2019 to 2045, our reach codes focused on all electric buildings. Single family homes in Peninsula Clean Energy territory represent 50% of building emissions, and that'll be methane gas systems in single family homes. Also, we really focused on apartments, making sure that everyone who lives in an apartment has access to a charging station, because the best place to charge your electric vehicle is at home while you sleep. And 21 of our member agencies have adopted reach codes. They have already impacted over 2,000 buildings. They have saved customers $80 million in avoided retrofit construction costs by building right the first time, and have saved PC $31 million in avoided PC incentives we would have had to spend. If you think of our incentives as helping to bail out a boat, reach codes kind of plug the hole that might be bringing water in, so that means we don't have to bail out those extra buckets. In 2019, the state code wasn't the best. Most homes that were being built were gas, so that's that could be a gas water heater and a gas heating system. And for every multi-unit apartment, only 1 out of every 10 was required to have access to charging. By 2022, thanks to looking at our reach codes, which really pushed all electric and pushed for 100% access, we had seen that move further. Heating went to green systems that are heat pumps, and 40% of units got parking. In 2025, we are celebrating on new construction. 100% of new multifamily units have access to charging in the entire state, and heat pumps are required for space heating and water heating in single family and almost all other building types. It's really monumental, which means it's time to think about other buildings. In any given year, only 1% of our building stock is new, the other 99% are existing. So there's emissions there focused on it, and that gives us an opportunity to use reach codes to save emissions there. Some 2025 context. There was a question earlier about AB 130, formerly AB 306. I wanted to help answer that question. Spent a lot of time on this year, and thanks to everyone's help on this, including Mark and everyone else here. At the last, so this was passed as a trailer bill on June 30th, 2025. There were some key exceptions that are really going to be useful for cities. One was if the code was passed before September 30th, 2025. That was very hard to hit, but Menlo Park was able to pass it before that date, which you'll see on the next slides. Really raised to that, and I know it was a lot of work. Also, there's an exception related to if your general plan has already been adopted and there are adopted greenhouse gas emission strategies related to it. It's a little complicated, and we can help walk you through that. At the end of the day, your council will have to help consider that, but a lot of general plans and climate action plans do really reference this stuff, so it seems like a big opportunity. The timeline. Late last year, the new building code was released. We started working on model codes early this year in Q1. The star is we are here, Q3. Model codes are available for adoption. If you want to adopt it at the same time as your building code, it would be brought to council now. On January 1st, 2026, that new code goes into effect. A note here, Q1 2026, we won't have our multifamily model reach code available until that date. The reason is that the software came late from the California Energy Commission. So cities that are really seeing a lot of multifamily might want to visit this in Q1 next year. I wish it could have been sooner, our model code, but it couldn't be. The model codes, so some existing building focus here for the most part. For single family, a policy called two-way AC, that's to make sure that when you're installing an air conditioner, it has that reversing valve, that piece of brass I'm passing around. A very common sense approach. All air conditioners should have that in there. Electric readiness, this is at the time of a specific renovation, considering while you're there, maybe add something else. So if someone's doing a kitchen model, you could require that if they're putting in a gas range, there's an outlet behind it. So the next time they replace it, they can electrify. It's easy to do when you're remodeling, harder to do it later. And then there's a policy called FlexPath, which can get very into the detail, but for major renovations, it's a points-based system that gives different points for different energy efficiency measures or heat pumps. I'll show you what cities have adopted this in a second. There's been a lot of interest in that. And then on the commercial side, the state code requires two-way air conditioning for existing buildings already. So on top of this building that we're sitting in now are two heat pump air conditioners. They were put there just because they were the cheapest thing to put there probably by the original builder. The requirement is that if you replace something like this, already in the state code, that it has to be a heat pump. Our model code will increase the size of that. So like that's for buildings this size, but on top of a big box building like a Costco or a Walmart or something like that, their units are a little bigger. So you can adopt a code that would impact those units and make sure when they replace them, they're a heat pump. These are cities, it's a little hard to see the green versus blue, but these are cities that have adopted each type of these. The blue ones had already had this previously, and then green adopted this cycle already. Many of those racing to that date. You'll see Menlo Park adopted all three. Congratulations. Some model codes in development. The multifamily new construction, there's still some work to be done on multifamily new construction on water heating. So maybe visit that if you see a lot of those coming in permit next year. And then existing single family homes, gas water heater to heat pump water heater. The air district is gonna pass a rule like this in 2027, but if you are interested, please reach out to me. Gonna walk through the greenhouse gas reduction potential policy options. We had a tool created that can compare a bunch of different policy options. Some of them are shown here. In that green, light green background, these are the policies I'm showing. So as you can see at the bottom, new construction really has a small bit of greenhouse gas emissions you can save compared to the one on top of it, which is this 2A AC requirement. And then in the middle there, you have the upcoming air district requirements, which really have a big opportunity for emission savings. So just showing those as comparison. And lastly, just wanted to note that PC has rebates for heat pumps for these existing building retrofits. Heat pump heating and cooling is a $1,500 rebate. We really designed that to make sure that these 2A air conditioners are the same cost as the first cost. Our heat pump water heater rebate is $2,500, and we have the 0% loan as well as some additions for income qualified customers. Any questions?
All right, yes, we'll start off with Director Johnson.
So on the heat pump retrofitting, I noticed they were on the roof and you had the old style, you referenced the old style AC units. And the unit that you brought around, I'm assuming you're running water in it, hot water or cold water into the unit and out. So would that mean that you'd have to like repipe everything so you can get water to that unit?
Good question. This is actually a refrigerator. This runs a refrigerant through it, not water. So in a large building, you would have hot and chilled water running around. But on smaller buildings, you have what are called package systems. And they really are just like they're one big rectangle that's pretty ugly. And they go on the roof and they don't have any water flowing through them. It's just refrigerant. So
R134 or some?
Yes, and then there are newer refrigerants coming out as well. We just had a big refrigerant change this year. You can either specify those in a gas-fired unit, which has a burner, or you could not have the burner and specify it as a heat pump. I compare it to selecting an automatic versus manual transmission in your car. So they're the same size, it's the same footprint, everything's the same, it's just a different heater. And since we live in this mild climate, the electrical loads are the same for the cooling and the heating.
And for cost wise, is it affordable?
Nearly identical. It's within $500 when I would specify these, because I used to be a commercial building design engineer. It was just a box tick. You wouldn't even think about the cost difference. They're the same.
And I like the idea of, because I bought my house and it had gas and it had electric, and we switched to electric 20 years ago. I didn't think it was gonna be going that way. I just liked electric. And so they had those two options. So I like that new code. That's a great idea, because then you could switch over at some point, go to electric. And I think that's an awesome idea.
Like, just to kind of wrap us up here, do you have an ask? Okay, I'm prompting you right now.
Oh, an ask?
What is the ask, Blake, of our member jurisdictions with respect to reach codes? For those of you who don't have them or who had to put them on hold for a while, what is our ask? And our offer?
I would recommend that you start considering existing building reach codes. I've done climate, in my previous role, I've done greenhouse gas emissions inventories for every city here. And if you don't tackle existing buildings, you won't hit your 2030 goals. So I would recommend reaching out to us and our consultant, and we can help walk you through it. Or having your staff do that. We're happy to come present or just support staff in whatever they need. And just consider bringing it as a study session or first reading, especially the existing building codes that make the most sense for your jurisdiction. Does that work?
Prompted more.
Yeah, let's go. Another one? Yes.
I just wanted to say that Blake and PCE were so helpful in getting these codes passed, and it was really amazing. Thank you.
I just want to note, this is the program that won the award that Nick was in New York last night to accept. So it's our award-winning program, and it's also because of all of you.
Yeah. Yes, and
Like, I was thinking maybe there's a way for us to also start embedding some messaging or thinking around resiliency here, especially when you put on the county hat. We're talking about Pescadero, we're talking about coast side. we already are running into a lot of questions and concerns and challenges when we bring this up internally on what's gonna happen when we have those storms come through and we have a multi-day kind of power shut off that happens there. So I think it's something we're gonna have to tackle, especially for the county, in order for us to adopt this. But happy to think that through with you on, both what the solutions are and what the messaging needs to be.
Yes, we have many slides on that. Would have to be happy. We've done a lot of thinking on that.
All right, yes, Director Ragsdale.
Are you guys in communication directly with our city managers or building and planning departments, or do you have some kind of communication that we could forward to them that, listing out the especially the reach code that's available now?
Through our RICAPS program, so that's a climate action coordination, all the sustainability managers meet every month. I'm typically on those meetings and they're always telling them about that. Sometimes some cities don't have a sustainability manager or in between it. And I'd be happy to forward some information to you so that you can forward that. If you reach out to your city manager and then ask them to reach out to me, then they will, in case they haven't gotten it through the many other channels.
Thank you.
Okay, yes, okay, I'm gonna go, first of all, let me go to James first, really quick, Director Pullman.
Yes, thank you. I love this. Actually, just texted my city manager.
Me too.
We're on it. But so my question is, so there's the commercial component of this reach code, and there's lots of different commercial buildings out there, right? You've got your restaurants, you've got your big biotech buildings in South San Francisco. We're known for our big biotech buildings. And does the commercial aspect apply to those as well? Like, is that easy for them to adopt?
Yes, the slide is so complicated, I did not include it, but because there's so many occupancy types, but if you wanna, we should talk about it. I'll give you my personal cell and we can talk through different commercial buildings. Labs are something to focus on.
Great, thank you.
All right, we have Director Mackin.
Thank you for the wonderful presentation, Blake. And I think maybe a starting point that would help all of us is if you could share this slide deck so that as we approach our staff, we have something to put on the table to start the conversation, and then we can always contact you directly for more technical assistance. Thank you.
Make sure that gets distributed to you.
Okay, I've got Director Johnson and then Director Bowles.
I just have a comment on the microgrid with Pescadero and Half Moon Bay. I got the email. I was alluded, you guys gave heads up. I reached out to my managers just like you did. It's kind of funny because as soon as I see something like, we know about this. And it kind of went into sleepy world, to be honest with you. And then I contacted my vice mayor, Ruddick, and then Ruddick said, that's a great idea. Why aren't we pushing forward? And I said, I've been, nobody's listening. So we need, if we could, push our city managers a little bit more, if you could, and like was just announced now, if we could have something in hand, because they kind of fall asleep. I'm gonna say it, mine did.
Or maybe rather, the city managers have so much on their plate,
They
it's
do.
your community development director that you want,
Right.
or your planning. Community development is your planning people.
We just got it agendized by us pushing Ruddick and myself at the last minute, at the last meeting, because we knew that you guys were coming strong and we wanted to do it, and it was us pushing it.
Yeah.
And then once we had the presentation, everybody was like excited about it, so it's kind of
Right.
funny how that worked.
Thank you, Director Mack and Director Bowles.
I just want to sing Blake's praises. I emailed him on Sunday night with some questions on our agenda. He responded on Monday, he ended up tuning into our meeting, and we were able to promote him to a panelist when a particular question came up, and we just thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah.
All right, are there any other questions here? Any members of the public?
Yes, one behind you.
Right behind you, go good.
Good evening. My name is Robert Whitehair. I'm a resident of San Mateo. I just want to say +1 to 2 of the things that Blake talked about. First of all, the Reach Coast, 21 jurisdictions. There are 500 incorporated communities in California. 20 of the ones that did, of the 80 who did the Reach Codes are in this area. It's because of all the work that Peninsula Clean Energy did. So you to be congratulated, and as is Blake and Raphael. The second thing is he talked about a greenhouse gas inventory. He's done one for San Mateo. It is very telling about existing buildings. I can't underscore enough how much information is in that greenhouse gas inventory that he's done. It gives a real, as council members, I know sometimes you have so many things on your plate and so many decisions to make. Which one do I make? That greenhouse gas inventory tool is here to help you, and I really support it. And thank you for all you've done in PCE. I appreciate it.
Thank you. Any other members of the public? All right, we're gonna go ahead and close this item. Thank you, Blake. And we're gonna move to an update on our brand strategy with Gwen Rose, our Director of Marketing and Community Relations.
Good evening, directors. Gonna talk about rebranding and the agency naming project. So the purpose of the presentation today is really to prepare us for the October board meeting, when we will come to you with some recommendations and some candidates for a potential name change. So to set the stage, today's presentation, I'm gonna start by talking about the evolution of our brand and the brand strategy refresh that we've been engaging in for the last year and a half. I know many of you have heard it, but I think it's helpful context, especially for newer board members. And then I'll share the process that we've undertaken with the naming committee, Lexicon Branding, and many of our team to really explore what name we could bring forward that would really resonate with our customers and support the organization as it evolves.
Gwen, could you bring the mic a tiny bit closer?
Yes, how's that?
Yeah.
Okay, thanks. So why are we exploring changing the name? So we are exploring this because how we are showing up for customers has changed. So I'm going to walk through the brand timeline. And just to ground us, because oftentimes when we say brand, it might sound like marketing jargon. You can think of it as the color, the font, the logo, the look and feel, but it's really more than that. It's the emotional and mental shorthand that our customers use to recall who we are and their relationship with us. It's more than just how we show up and what we say, it's how they feel when they think about us. So that's what we mean when we say brand. But if we look at our timeline, when we launched in 2016, our name was a literal reflection of what we did. We served the peninsula with clean energy. That kind of clarity was really important when what we wanted to do was avoid customers opting out. And our relationships with our customers were transactional. We were just selling them electricity and they didn't need to take action in order to enjoy the benefit of that electricity. At that time, our marketing was really based on education, and that was it. It was, what is a CCA? Here's why you should stay with us. By 2023, our organization was growing rapidly. It was changing. We doubled in size between 2022, 2024. And we started focusing on electrification and had some pretty ambitious goals. And what we realized when we started looking at our brand, annual brand survey and looking at the verbatims and what it said, we realized there were some real gaps. So 59% of our customers didn't know who we are. But then even of the customers who do know who we are, there were gaps in perceptions. There were people who didn't realize, oh, I got a rebate from you, but I didn't realize that you provided my electricity. So we realized that we needed to really clarify our brand strategy. So that really started us down the path. So in 2024, we started working on that. And it was really about clarifying, who are we? Who do we want to show up for with our customers? What do we want them to feel when they think about us? And, you know, as we started down that path, we really started to think about, like, what is it that our customers need to feel connected, supported, and respected? And in 2024, the organization as a whole really started leaning in on customer centricity. So, you know, we launched the contact center, account services, energy programs, started offering personalized support. You know, we're talking about doing the chatbot. So we've been really leaning in hard on customer centricity. And the more that I think we've dug in on this work and the more that we've looked at those customer insights, the clearer it's become that we need a brand that is humanized, that can really connect with our customers in a real way, that makes the benefits of what we're offering tangible to them. And in that way, rather than just educating, we really need to learn how to connect. So, you know, the sort of shorthand here is we're going from the beginning, which was transactional relationships that require trust and education to what we need today in order to make our customers partners in decarbonization. We need deeper trust and connection, because consider what we are asking of our customers. We are saying, change out your, appliances, cars, install solar. These are really big investments, and we're asking them to do this in their place of safety and refuge, and it really does require safety and connection. Okay. So next year marks our 10-year anniversary. And this gives us a rare and natural and organic moment where we can celebrate what we've built and step confidently into what's next. So this is our brand pyramid. So when we were looking at the brand strategy, this is sort of the blueprint for who we are, who we aspire to be. And so at the top, PCE is bold, thoughtful, empathetic. At the bottom are the benefits that customers receive. So we want customers to feel respected, supported when making the energy choices that are best for them, and we want them to feel a sense of pride and ownership. And then, of course, there are the functional benefits, which is, affordable energy and clean energy. But also on top of that are the experiences designed with them in mind. They really need to see and feel those tangible benefits of the energy that we're providing. So when we looked at that blueprint and then thought about how we're going to come into the market and really express this new brand, what we kept bumping up against were some challenges with our name. So it's hard to say, spell, and remember. The acronym is close to PG&E. Our name is tied to a geography that no longer represents our full service territory. There are misconceptions about clean energy that don't necessarily help us right now when our rates are lower. And then there are just general perceptions around Peninsula that are somewhat limiting. Just to drive this home. So, you can see the customer confusion when you look at our Google search console. So that misspelling, you can see a lot of different misspellings. You can see the ways that they confuse it with PG&E. You see Peninsula Electric Company, Peninsula Green. And then the name and the logo, really long. The name is very long. And so that complexity and that aspect ratio makes it pretty challenging in a number of different formats and contexts and across different applications. So in short, our name, which was originally built around clarity, today when we need connection, it provides some barriers. Okay, so now I want to talk about the process that we underwent. So our first conversation about the name change actually happened as early as April 2024. We had a staff workshop. We really went through the pros and cons and we thought about it. And we came out of that and thought, okay, it's worth exploring a name change as part of this whole brand strategy refresh. Then we had a few conversations at various board meetings and with the CAC, and we ended with, yes, let's go ahead and explore it. So in March of this year, we really got that process underway. And we designed a process that was really grounded in customer research. It was important that we avoid letting our own personal biases drive the decision-making on this. So we really wanted to set up a process that was rigorous, again, grounded in customer research, so that we could bring you a name that plays the best across our diverse customer base that also represents who we want to be in with our customers.
We want to do a 10-minute punch.
10 minutes, okay, I can do that.
We gotta make it through our strategic.
I got it.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Sorry.
No worries. Okay, so here's our naming committee. So thank you to all the directors who have been part of the naming committee, as well as our executive team, Sean and Shalini. They've been key in shaping this work and reviewing the research, narrowing down options, and then just making sure that the process is grounded in our mission and our values. And then our partner, Lexicon, they are, they have a ton of expertise and experience in names. As you can see here, they've developed some of the, household names like Swiffer. But on top of names like that, they've also, worked with companies on names that are really mission driven. And they've worked with energy and nonprofits as well. So Lunar Energy is one of those examples. So that's just to say, when we come to you with name options next month, we're not going to be coming to you with something that is abstract or made up, in case you're wondering. The name will be definitely something that is recognizable and believable in the context of an energy company. Okay, so now I just want to talk about the name selection process. So starting with stakeholder insights and creative framework. So Lexicon started with stakeholder input to develop the creative framework. This was the first step. Essentially what they did was 15 in-depth interviews with our stakeholders and 4 surveys that went out to our staff, the board of directors, community advisory committee, and our community partners. They essentially got 72 data points, and then they distilled that into the insights needed in order to help come up with names that reflect the organization. Basically, what they were asking through the stakeholder input was, how do you see the PCE brand now? What do you want to hold on to? What do you want to let go of? And what do you want to bring into the future? Okay. Across all stakeholder groups, what they found was that rebranding was seen as a positive step forward. It would allow for clearer differentiation from PG&E. It would allow for a future-facing identity. It would expand our perception. And then there were concerns around brand equity that we definitely want to be mindful of. So just some of those verbatims from board and staff and CAC, make PCE stand out from PG&E. A simpler name, easier to remember, and an opportunity for the name to reflect the futuristic vision. We are more than a power company. We are a resource for our customers. So then all of that stakeholder input then informs what is called a creative framework. So this is what Lexicon uses to then generate names. Think of the creative framework as the sort of right guardrails around name ideation. And so we make sure that we have enough flexibility for creativity that's grounded in that stakeholder input. So Lexicon has expertise in linguistics and cognitive science, and they know how to make the kind of associations, they know how to look at names that have the associations that make a name stick and perform well over time. And importantly, one of the things that they've said to us is, a name is a vessel that carries your story forward. It does not have to be a literal description of your mission, right? So Patagonia doesn't need to say environment in its name, and Nike doesn't need to say athletics. The strength of a brand is not just the name, it's the associations and the stories and the messaging and the proof points that go along with it. Okay, so once they had the creative framework, So yeah, the creative framework, essentially, it was reflect the organization's pace-setting nature, be fresh and contemporary, be uplifting, turn skepticism into optimism. And then while credibility is important, this new name must be approachable. So it shouldn't be overly complex or synthetic like Xerox, and it can't sound overly corporate like PG&E. It should be a reason to opt in. Yeah, so name ideation, really interesting. This is why one of the really exciting things about Lexicon is their process for name ideation. So they have 3 teams, 3 different creative teams. One of the teams knows a lot about us, one knows a little, and one knows almost nothing. With those teams, that gives them the flexibility to be really creative. They come up with hundreds and hundreds of names, and then they whittle those down. Those names then went through a preliminary linguistic screening, Mandarin, Spanish, and Tagalog. And then our naming committee saw 2 sessions with 20 names. They identified a short list that went through trademark review. Some names then fell out after that, and we ended up with 5 to 6 names that we presented for research. So for the customer research, we sent those names to focus groups of 30 customers in both San Mateo County and Los Banos, and in English and Spanish. And those were really helpful, so they understood that we could find out more in real time how names landed. And then we also did a quantitative study of 500 customers in Merced County and San Mateo County. So essentially, again, I redacted names. You can see more of this next month, but when they ended up looking at all of that research and the names that we sent, it was, names tended to fall along the spectrum. Did customers associate the name as bold or safe? Did they see it as, is it a more nature evoking clarity and optimism, or was it more modern and technology focused? So we looked at all of that, the name associations, then went back to the creative framework and what we're trying to accomplish with that. And that helped really guide us to what are strong contenders for a name. So this is where we're at. We're in the selection phase right now. So this month we have 2 top names and a recommendation. We're doing some additional due diligence on trademark and digital assets. And then next month, we'll discuss those top 2, and the board will vote on whether to adopt a new name or stay with Peninsula Clean Energy. If we vote to go forward, then we would do the tactical rollout plan then. Either way, we are going to be developing a new logo. But so then Q1 2026, it would be the plans for the new logo development, the visual brand identity, and the tactical rollout plan. And then Q2, we would roll out the brand awareness plan and the 10-year anniversary activities. And I will stop there.
Okay, questions? Yes.
I'm not on the board, but I just ran it by Director Nash and I came up with one.
Go for it.
Green lightning.
I think there's a movie, there's a song.
I'm thinking that sounds like our campaign kickoff cocktail.
There you go.
I like that.
Green light, right? You're in charge, you and Adam. All right, any questions on this process? I mean, it's very exciting and it's very top secret. We do have Colleen, I'll let her pop in here. And I do want to thank the staff for managing this over the last 2 years. And I really want to thank the people who stood up to be on this committee, so I didn't have to. I'm really grateful. And I know it was a lot of work and very hard, but it was nice to have so many voices and so many different voices. Colleen, Director Mackin.
Thank you. I just wanted to compliment Gwen and staff and all the participants. This whole process has been so extremely well orchestrated. It is really impressive, the diligence in this whole pursuit of a name. And in some ways, I would really like everyone on the board to think about, until we get to October, why do we need a name change? Well, what is our mission? Originally, we sold electricity. Is that really what we do? Our mission is electrification, and we can't do that just selling electricity. We need those programs. And the confusion with PG&E and PCE is actually obstructing our ability to really push forward at the speed that we need. So I would like everyone who, you might start out and go, wow, we're really married to this name we've had because it's name recognition, but it's actually, in my opinion, and from what I hear about the market research, it's hampering our efforts. And this could dramatically change what happens in the next 5 to 10 years. So thank you very much. And I hope you all look forward to hearing the rollout presentation.
Okay. Thank you. All right, if there's no more comments, I'm gonna open this up to the public. All right, Gwen, thank you very much.
All right.
That was great. Really appreciate it. We'll mark that item off. We're gonna move on to our last item, which is 2020, I know, drum roll please for next time. 2025 strategic plan review of accomplishments and closeout on Sean.
Okay, so friends, it is now 8:14. I recognize that we usually try and get out of here by 8:30. I'm gonna be honest and say that's not gonna happen. But let's try to do this, team, in 30 minutes, if that's okay. And that just might mean, folks, that you need to cut out a bunch of things and get to your top 3. And I will say that if there are any questions thereafter, you know, we're gonna be around after if you wanna talk about this more, but. I do wanna say that we have a lot to be proud of in the last 5 years, let alone 10 years almost, so we're gonna hear more about that. It really has been a period of accomplishments and growth and maturation that have all gone hand in hand, especially over these last 4 years, I would say. The work to date sets the foundation for our next strategic plan, which we're gonna talk about in October and November. It's really important, and I don't know if Diane Bailey's still on the line, but I really want everyone to embody the fact that this plan, we're closing it out, that's true. Some things we can check the box and say, awesome, some things carry on. So it's not like we're shelving this and ignoring everything, so much of it carries forward, different words, but it carries forward into the next plan.
Can I just say something?
Yes, please.
So the only thing I want to add here is because I think Marty, you and I are probably the only two people here who worked on this plan. And when we put this plan together in 2020, in 2016, we didn't have a strategic plan. From 2016 to 2020, there was no strategic plan. And I think some of the staff that's here and was there at the time, it was, yeah, because Roger Leslie was here. There was a sense of like an ununified sense of organizational sort of very fluid and somewhat unfocused directive. And the programs were rolling out with Raphael and things were getting more and more complicated. And so we brought on a pretty third-party consultant. It was very simple. And the idea was to create the first framework from which we could all put our oars in the water and row together. So it gave us a goal, a task, a focus, and a way to talk to the community about the organization in a holistic way. So that was a somewhat, a little bit static. It was very basic, but it was really needed to create like morale and put us all in the same direction. I'm so happy that we are, now working on the next 5 years. But I wanted to just make sure that everyone understood kind of the difference and the organizational differences in the point of time we were when we did the first plan and how we've matured now and creating a much more dynamic and comprehensive plan and how important it is that we've kind of evolved to that point. So it's great.
And there's cake. So hang it.
I think we should cut the cake now.
Maybe we should just serve it. Yeah,
Sugar
yeah,
rush.
We're gonna kick off with Sarah Matta from our Power Resources and then Raphael. And then after that comes. Anyway, I'll get you guys lined up. Go ahead, Sarah.
We need that.
Okay, good evening, everyone. My name is Sarah Matta. I'm the Senior Manager of Power Resources. Roy Shu, our director, couldn't be here in person. Sean wanted in-person presentations tonight, so I get to the pleasure of presenting this. My first week at PCE was January 2020 when you all adopted the strategic plan, so it's really rewarding for me to be here to present our accomplishments for the group. Okay, our top 2 strategic priorities for the past 5 years, you've maybe memorized them. Sean told me to skip things, so I'll just skip them. And here are the metrics for those top 2 priorities. The top one belongs to Power Resources. The bottom one belongs to Raphael's group programs. Okay, again, hopefully you all got this memorized in your sleep. It was our strategic goal for the past year. Those of you along for the ride know that we revised it a few times along the way to balance cost, risk, and changing market conditions, but it's still a very aggressive goal, even though it was softened slightly in the past 5 years. Here's our table of metrics. I don't think this actually tells a great story for the Power Resources team. Really, the only line that starts to hint at the great accomplishments our team has done over the past 5 years is the bottom. Percent of summer peak load served by new capacity. We went from 0 in 2019 to 60% in the most recent summer. That's new batteries, new solar, new wind, new geothermal plants on the grid today because of PCE's partnership with those projects. That's a great accomplishment. So more about those resources. We've contracted for 1.4 gigawatts of resources in the past 5 years. 80% of those are new. They wouldn't have been built without PCE's contracting for them. So we're really punching above our weight here. Like, given our size, this is a great portfolio that we've developed in 5 years. The map shows the resources, our geographic diversity. It's something to be proud of. And more to come. 900 megawatts of these are online today, putting energy on the grid. 800 megawatts more are still being built. But bringing PPA resources into the world is not the only thing that Power Resources does. We have other groups and we build a balanced portfolio. Our planning team is at the edge, the leading edge of conversations about how to transform the electric system into the clean electric system of the future. We helped pioneer 24/7 hourly matching, and we had 2 white papers published, spoke at conferences. We don't just have PPA resources in our portfolio, we also have short-term resources that help balance and mitigate against energy market risk. Our short-term team transacted 16 million megawatt hours of energy products, 35,000 megawatts of RA capacity products. That's what makes sure there's enough power to keep the lights on even a peak event. 500 transactions and over $1 billion in value.
What is the timeline?
Over the past 5 years. Yeah, I think the PPA value is about 3.4 billion, or maybe 2.4 billion, total value around 3.5 billion over the past 5 years.
Wow.
So after we ink those deals, our operations team, small but mighty, is monitoring, managing, and settling them. They're currently managing deals with 26 counterparties, 17 of which are PPAs. We have 3 utility scale batteries that we brought online last year. Those are integrated and optimized in our portfolio. Big learning curve there, but yeah, we've got them all up and running now. And this is one of my favorites, actually, top 3 energy risk management plan. When I joined in 2020, we had to make some hard decisions without a risk management policy, and it wasn't always comfortable. And now we know that that huge value and number of transactions that the Power Resources handles is under the control of a risk management plan, and there's strict policies and limits in place for us. And then last of all, we don't just do it for the climate and the customers, we also do it for the regulators, and we have been 100% compliant in all of our procurement mandates. And this really gives us, you know, it gives us a name and a face, and the regulators listen to us when we bring feedback to them about regulations that they're developing. Finally, our team has grown. I was the 4th person on the team when I joined at the beginning of 2020, and now we have 11 people. We used to know that we needed and wanted to do big things, but we didn't have the capacity, and today we do have that capacity. So I just want to thank the board. We couldn't have done it without you, without your direction and vision over the past 5 years. We have a huge portfolio to be proud of, and I can't wait to see what we do together over the next 5 years.
Directors, Rafael Reyes, Director of Energy Programs, and I'm pleased here to give the report out for Community Energy Programs. Like Sarah's reports, I'll have some metrics and then some highlights. But really the takeaway here is in this 5-year period for the strategic plan, we went from nascent, really concept to steel in the ground. Frankly, the leadership of the cities and the leaders here around the county and around the table have really been instrumental in this. I'm not going to go through all of the words. I just want to get this, you know, this is the language out of the strategic plan. I'm just going to call out a couple things. If you look at objectives, signature programs, develop market momentum around transportation. This is about supporting the growing momentum around electric vehicles, which in 2020, frankly, was really early days. And then initiate the transition on buildings, because we were really starting from zero. We're still early days, but those were really our 2 top guiding posts, goals. And of course, with the support of distributed energy resources, and then with the intention of delivering community benefits. And that means both
bringing more affordability and also supporting equity community members and ultimately, of course, driving innovation at scale. The programs chart is not as pretty green as the power resources chart. It turned out that launching programs in 2020 in the middle of the pandemic was a bit of a hindrance. So I don't recommend pandemics as a way to accelerate scale. However, I do want to call out certain things that we are particularly pleased about. We outperformed on building electrification in terms of the number of units deployed. So we're very, very pleased about that. Much more momentum than we anticipated when we first laid out the plan. We did underperform on EV charging, which again, really had a lot to do with the fact that nobody was driving and nobody was interested in talking about things to support driving. When we launched, but we have seen significant momentum recently, looking at the last year in particular. And of course, reach codes was a really big part of the story here, delivering nearly 40% of the emissions benefits that we saw in this period. And that's the benefits from the new construction reach codes that Blake spoke about earlier, and strong contribution in terms of investment in low-income communities in terms of the programs that we're targeting. So a few highlights here. Blake already spoke in detail about reach codes, so I'm not going to recap the metrics, but I do want to flag a couple things about this story. When local governments came to us and say, we want some technical assistance so that we can do building codes, we were pleased to be able to do that. And frankly, I think we're surprised, frankly, at how much momentum reach codes developed. And it really, the work of all of you here around the table and also in Silicon Valley Clean Energy Territory really set the pace for California. I want to particularly call out Director Nash, because Menlo Park created on its own the standard for all electric building code out of thin air, produced that standard. That became the standard that PCE then encouraged other cities to consider, and it became the statewide standard. So huge impact. And thank you again, Director Nash, for that extraordinary work. And it was advocates and community members who came to us and said, on EV charging, you should be looking at low power charging and level 1 and power management as a way to have scalable charging for every residential unit in new multifamily, which was an unheard of concept at the time. And again, cities around the table and the county were the ones who really drove it forward by engaging with us and adopting those codes. So that was a huge success thanks to your leadership. We launched the existing buildings incentive programs in 2021. And just as a half step back, of course, as mentioned by Gwen, program started concept development about mid-2018. And it was really 2020 when we started moving on developing larger scale programs. And one of those programs that we launched at that point was the buildings program. So incentives for water heaters at that point in time. And then added heat pump, two-way AC, HVAC systems. Later, then at the end of last year, we added, of course, the direct install program and turnkey programs. And, seen quite a bit of uptake. We are the largest building electrification program in the Bay Area. We're pleased about that. And we are starting to see evidence that it is helping on bills. So as Blake noted earlier, roughly $30 per month benefit from electrification based on the data that we have, including a number of all electric pilots, and also work with income qualified communities. And so I'm being encouraged to move along. So I will cut some of my stories short. And on EV charging, similar story. So we saw a lot of momentum really in the last couple of years. We talked, Sean spoke about the ribbon cutting for the 143 ports.
I want to flag in particular here the cost per port, so 3,000 or less, which is frankly unheard of for any program of its kind. Also has been instrumental, frankly, this program has been instrumental in starting a number of new companies. So Go Power EV, which is the company that created that charging port, Orange Charger, which is in the picture here, these companies didn't exist. The work here with the adoption work that's being done, throughout the service territory has been instrumental in these companies. There are now, a half a dozen companies working in this space with more affordable, smart solutions for multifamily. So it's very exciting. And importantly, we have in this 5-year period moved to 10% of existing vehicles. 10% of existing vehicles in the county being plug-in electric vehicles. And we believe we are well on track towards 100% by 2035, which is the state goal for 100%, of the new vehicles sold being plug-in electric. And then, of course, many of you are familiar with the solar and storage work. We were just earlier today in Millbrae at the City Hall there. So we have 13 projects complete, 36 projects will be complete by April of next year, over 5 megawatts for, this is the GovPV program, of course, projected total lifetime savings of approximately $50 million. This has been particularly valuable also in terms of economic development. So we have a fabulous union labor firm that's doing this work. And we are pleased now looking next year to launch a residential solar and storage program as well. And with that, I will hand it over to my colleague Nick.
Okay, I will be very, very quick, or else I'll get the wrath of Sean.
Smile.
Not as exciting as those two departments. This is we're more of a support organization. Our objectives, these were 5 years ago before my time, but makes sense. Fiscal health, good controls and management, and financial stability. I think we can all agree with our great objectives. This is our metric table, or our dashboard, excuse me. I think a better place to talk about this is on the words page. So I went one page too fast, so I'll just cover basically the table here. First achievement is our really strong liquidity position. I know I sleep well at night. During the days of COVID, I'm told we had less than 200 days cash on hand. Today, I'm proud to say we're 308, or at least at the end of the last fiscal year, 385 days cash on hand. That money will come in handy next year when the PCIA increases significantly and PG&E's generation rates decrease. So I think we're all in great shape, a lot better than a lot of our peers. We've been able to generate that kind of liquidity at the same time offering our customers at least a 5% discount over that entire 5-year period. And that's despite some financial headwinds when in, I think, 2 years, we actually experienced a loss to be able to give that 5% discount. And in the last 2 years, we've increased that discount to 10%. So really proud of that for our customers. Savings, cumulative savings over the 5-year period, $160 million. As I think you're all aware, we were recently upgraded by recently upgraded by Moody's last year. We were upgraded by S&P a couple years ago, and now we're hopefully even gonna get a higher rating. So I think that's just validation of the strong financial shape we're in, and that gives us better negotiation leverage with our counterparties and stakeholders, and just gives us more gravitas. Investment returns, we are sitting on a sizable cash balance and we're exceeding our benchmarks. That was one of the metrics on the prior page. We did execute our first prepay transaction last year. As Sean alluded to, we are embarking on another one. So more to come there, and hopefully those of you who are new to that product, you'll hear more about that in the next month. But that first transaction alone generated $45 million over the next 8 years. So those are savings that'll go right into our customers' pockets. And then finally, less exciting and sexy, but really important, is we put in place a lot of improved our internal processes and procedures. So our budgeting, which you've all been a part of, I think has improved, at least since I've been here, and I'm sure it's improved even before that. We built basically a risk management function. updated our energy risk management policy. We are adopting an enterprise risk management policy, which you'll hear about at the next board meeting. And we've updated several policies. And then we changed our rate setting from always be at a set 5% to cost of service. That allowed us to increase our discount most recently from 5 to 10. Was that good? There we go. Okay, account services.
Okay, so account services. We had some primary objectives were around customer care, operational excellence for maintaining strategic partnerships and relationships with our outside vendors, and improving access to customer data. We have this metric board here. Our real focus when this thing launched 5 years ago was really just about maintaining opt-outs. So that really was the focus. We've added these other items on there along the way and really started to focus on them, but really it was just about don't have people opt out. So starting with that, and then where we've ended up now and all the things we've been able to do since then is, I think, really great. And I just want to highlight a couple of them. With the expanding, our key accounts relationships. Justin Pine, who's our strategic account manager, has really done some amazing work this last couple of years over bringing in some longstanding load that was direct access load back into service with PCE. We're really proud about that. Also amazing work with Caltrain and the electrification of Caltrain and leading projects there. And so these are some really important, like, long-term relationships that we've been able to focus on, and really proud of that work. We've been working hard to do some additional outreach to our vulnerable and low-income customers, connecting them with programs like AMP, making sure we keep our DAC GT program fully subscribed as we can. Also, our data access for customers with the utility API tool has been very helpful for our commercial key accounts, and working with data and technology team on sort of how do we mimic that going forward and maybe enhance it internally. And then internal operations really improved some processes with our NEM cash out program, and also our collections programs that we've been able to pick up over the last year or so. And then the biggest one is launching their contact center with and I just really, I never wanted to run a call center. I think I've said this before. I'm very proud of it though. And I'm very proud of the work we've done over these last 5 years. In 2020, I was a team of 2, and I'm now a team of 9. And I feel really grateful for the support, especially that Sean's given me over the last couple of years to really enhance that service for people and all of us. So, thank you.
Hello again. Okay, so our strategic plan goals: develop strong brand reputation that drives participation in our energy programs and ensures customer satisfaction and retention. So here is our dashboard. So what you'll see is, some of these are shared with account services, incredibly high participation rate, strong favorability, and as far as residential engagement, we think we're doing a really good job of covering our diverse customer base with programs and our marketing to them. The aided awareness at 41% is really where our kind of biggest gap and our biggest opportunity is. And honestly, that is what started us down the whole brand refresh process. It was like, what do we really need to do to get from 40% to 60%? What does that require? And before we blanket the airwaves, we really need to be clear about what we're trying to accomplish. So that really started us on that whole effort that I spoke about earlier. So just to sort of lay the foundation, that's kind of how I think about what we have been doing for the last few years, really laying the foundation for the work that we want to do going forward. So there's our customer focus. We really shifted that customer first approach. We rebuilt the website from the ground up. We rebuilt our social media strategy. We've been working across departments on how to offer electrification experiences that are really designed to provide emotionally rewarding experiences for our customer. And we launched our Voice of Customer initiative, which is really about developing that insights engine that's going to help really improve our marketing and our communications. Then on brand and platforms, so this is really led by my Associate Director of Marketing, Kirsten Grun. Been doing a ton of work here on really making sure that we have the tools that allow us to communicate in segmented, personalized, localized ways to our entire customer base. So a lot of work has been done to really make sure that we have updated tools to reach our customers. And then on engagement, we have our community relations team led by Kirsten Andrews Schwinn doing really phenomenal work. 500 events, reaching 24,000 customers, really just one-to-one deep engagement and developing relationships with customers on the ground. In some ways, I think our brand strategy is really about how do we take what they're doing on the ground and translate that at scale across the customer base. And they've expanded our community outreach grants from, I think, 5 to 16 groups, 2.2 million in grants, and almost 8,000 students engaged. So a lot of great work happening on the engagement side. And then for visibility, we are elevating thought leadership, really tied, I think, a lot to electrification, the right sizing of electrification, and have managed to get a lot of great coverage in various, outlets, everything from, Canary Media to the Washington Post, to local sources. So good work happening there. And then finally, again, on the awareness front, so there's modest growth, strong favorability, but we really think we're positioned for a broad brand awareness campaign coming next year as part of our 10-year anniversary. Okay, that was it.
Okay.
Oh, too far. Public policy. Once again, good evening. Talk a little bit about public policy. This is the regulatory and the legislative portion of the program. For a little bit of context, take you back 5 years, the state was suffering the repercussions of some major wildfires. There was in 2019 the Tubbs and the Paradise fires, and lo and behold, 5 years later, the state, the key issue sucking up a lot of energy in Sacramento is wildfires. And one of the things that we noted that is in the budget this year is while the cause is still under investigation for the Southern California wildfires, there is a substantial recapitalization of the wildfire fund this year, all related. So the story of the 5-year arc for Peninsula Clean Energy in our legislative program is that we have, along with other CCAs, become a significant part and a more matured part of the landscape in Sacramento. We're called upon to join coalitions. We're active on all the major bills that are pending related to energy issues, and our participation is sought. As Mark Fenstermaker shared earlier this evening, there are a lot of examples of that, and so I won't go into detail on what happened this year. I will mention a couple of achievements over the last few years that we can point back to. One was our participation, our support, our lead testimony in SB 1158. That was the 24/7 bill that passed the legislature. It will provide the CEC with some more accurate information about energy sources and GHG emissions. And also, you may recall a couple of years ago, and thank you, Director Fung is here, Director Colson, and Director Medina all went up and testified on our Brown Act bill. It was the first bill we sponsored. While the bill did not meet with success, I can report that in the last 2 weeks, amazingly enough, a Brown Act bill passed that contained many of the key provisions that we were seeking. And it is now sitting on the governor's desk. Although we didn't get over the finish line, if the governor signs it, then regional cross-county bodies like ours will allow for remote participation for members who are more than 20 miles away from the site of the meeting with certain other conditions. So I'm gonna forward this. So we feel as though we've met our targets in terms of legislative impact. With respect to coalition building, coalitions come in many different flavors. One of those is The coalition that came together, and it was in your packet, on the pathways bill that we participated in, labor, environmental groups, and many others. And many of the wins that we have enjoyed that we discussed on Reach Codes and other places came from our ability to collaborate with other CCAs, with other stakeholders, and to be able to explore new ideas and bring those forward. As it pertains to CCA growth, again, there's challenges, and but we believe we're on target. The board some years ago put a pause on expansion, but we expect to have discussions along those lines, perhaps in the future. And so, as was mentioned, there's a huge increase in legislation on energy issues in Sacramento, and we're now participating in legislative activities in Washington, D.C. And just want to mention how appreciative I am for support of board members who will testify, weigh in, and be part of the legislative committee, and our staff direction from leadership, and because really legislative is a team effort, as you've certainly heard here tonight. So thank you.
Thanks, Tom.
Good evening, folks. I'm Jeremy Wayne, the Senior Director of Regulatory Policy, and you may have noticed from some of the slides Mark was advancing through, there was both regulatory and legislative content. That's because back when this plan was birthed, we had a single director of regulatory and legislative policy, and now Mark and I continue to carry it forward in kind of a joint manner. I'm not going to go back slides, I'm not going to make you dizzy from all that. I just do want to highlight a bit of what we're doing on the regulatory front. The primary aim of the strategic plan for regulatory affairs in this last 5 years is really to build trust and as much alignment between what we were trying to do as an agency and what the state is considering for its regulations and its energy sector policy. And to do that, that's required a lot of trust building, a lot of relationship building, and that's something that we've really leaned into and continue to lean into. Started with things like having meet and greets with the 5 commissioners from the Public Utilities Commission and the 5 commissioners from the California Energy Commission annually to educate them about all the amazing stuff that our agency is doing, educate them about how we are, even in extremely challenging market conditions, maintaining full compliance with the state's regulatory requirements and objectives, and really trying to deliver a consistent message throughout to start laying that ground of trust. That's expanded with time. Some of you may recall back in October of last year, we hosted a great event, a right-sizing tour for commission staff and leadership to see the electric vehicle charging infrastructure in person, to see a customer's whole home electrification done right. And that too was another chance to really build knowledge and build trust and build a sense of brand recognition with the regulatory and the state government. Fast forward and to the start of the meeting, we had a little recap of last weekend with the ribbon cutting for the 140 some odd port charging installation, 143, I believe. And that's just the next example of the next touch point where we made sure that we had Commissioner Baker, who happens to be one of our customers as well, local, come see it for himself and recognize the value of it. All of that's leading to amplifying and affecting success in the regulatory space that aligns both with our procurement and our program's objectives. In addition to what we're doing in right sizing, which I spoke authorization, and then on
Colleen, if you wouldn't mind giving me a thumbs up that you can now hear us again. Great, thank you so much.
Right, have like a funky. We have an echo.
Maybe short and sweet.
It's going to be so short and sweet. Okay, I'm not Kim Lee, but I play her on TV. So for data and IT, the key goals here were to essentially increase data capability to enable better analysis, cost, customer insights, and impact. For IT, really has been all about streamlining our hardware and software management to safeguard both customer information and company information. And so I'm not going to go through all of the dashboard. It's looking good. As you can see, a little bit interesting start there. Now on target with all of our various metrics. I think the four things I just really want to point out here, when 2020 commenced, I don't even think there was a data and IT team. It was outsourced, and it was outsourced to one person. And it was, for those of you who are here, I think challenging would be an understatement. And it was not mature, and we were not optimizing all the things that we are today. So that's really the big arc. These are all the closeout highlights that Kim provided. I'm not going to read them. Just a couple of things to highlight. In addition to the fact that we brought the data and IT function in-house, we did build capacity and sophistication. We have standardized our data and IT software systems, platforms. We've centralized a lot of them. We did a full audit to figure out what was cost effective, what do we still need, what could we get rid of, and then where do we need to invest in the future. We have expanded our data and dashboard capabilities for very accurate reporting, and that is still an ongoing effort. And we have definitely doubled down on data management, security and controls, and have in-house data breach protocol now to the extent that that comes up. So there is so much more going on in this space. AI, as I've mentioned before, is coming, but we now have a team of, I think, 4, 2 in data and IT, and 2 in data, 2 in IT, along with Kim. So more to come on that. I'm going to roll right along here to organizational excellence. This is our last goal area. And this is, you'll see a similar thing coming up in our next strategic plan. This is where we sort of capture the way we work. So the goal here is to ensure organizational excellence by adhering to sustainable business practices, fostering a workplace culture of innovation, diversity, transparency, and integrity. And then there's several objectives. I really have no idea what that challenges yellow box there is in 2022. I think that was before my time. I'm not sure. And it was around governance. Oh, you do? Okay. Well, we're going to skip that one. But
okay.
I don't know.
And identified challenges with onboarding and orientation for our board, and just I was feeling challenged, and
There you go. So look at now the rest is green. Good job, Melanie. Good job. Okay. So just a couple of highlights and then we're going to wrap this up. I think it's very important to say that we have created 3 new departments at PCE since 2022. The first is people and culture. That came to us starting in 2023, improved significantly last year. That is otherwise known as HR. Then we have data and technology, as mentioned just previously, that was outsourced, now in-house and very sophisticated and getting better all the time. And then just this year, as you all know, your board approved a Department of Innovation Strategy, which is where we're doing all of our advanced energy work, distributed energy resource, VPP, and kind of the entrepreneurial department of the agency. We also implemented a couple of functions. A really big piece is risk management. We had little bits of risk management and finally have brought it all together in a very, very comprehensive energy risk management. We now have a risk oversight committee with lots of rules of the road. And we're now working on our enterprise risk management work, which Nick will be updating us on here in the next couple of months. We also have more robust rate strategy. Both of these functions report up through Nick. And then as Leslie mentioned, we brought our call center in-house, which has made a huge difference in retention of customers and deeper customer support. We adopted and completed, for the most part, PCE's DEAI plan. And that was a big initiative a couple of years ago under, I think, the direction of Chair Colson and a number of our staff. Much of this is ongoing, but we have achieved, I think, 94% of what we set out in 2023 in our action plan. A couple of board transitions this year. We had 30% of our board turnover. And you have an all-new C-suite since 2023, 2024, and hopefully you all feel that's gone well. We have adopted and updated new policies. We have added several procedures for internal controls. We've clarified operating procedures. Basically, we've just been growing up and really getting to a place of organizational maturity. Nellie mentioned that she had challenges in 2022. So now we have more robust board management, cultivation of leadership. We are very intentional about use of staff committees and board committees to bring new folks on board, to get them ready for increasing leadership. More board education opportunities, including 3 this year, and then a very robust board orientation. The very last is something that I'm very proud of and want to always strive to maintain. And that is that we've really focused on building, maturing, and retaining the talent that we have here at PCE. We've seen a significant increase in staff satisfaction and retention across the 5-year period. That remains just a personal goal. It's part of our culture. So I will wrap up this whole thing by saying none of this can be done without your leadership, your trust in what we do, your faith in our ability. And we have to then prove that by having an amazing staff that delivers. And that's really what we're about, is delivering on the vision, delivering on what we say we're going to do on time and under budget, we hope. So with that, huge congratulations to everybody. And I'll turn it back over to the chair.
Thank you very much. I'm just gonna talk. The first one, the very first meeting from here, I found out that they were writing checks to pay vendors on a checkbook. So we've gone from like a checkbook to that in 10 years. I really feel like we've gone from a startup, just a all hands on deck startup, to a really mature and complete organization that meets the highest standards of organizational management and performance and style that any of us just need to be so proud of this work we've done. And I'm so grateful for the board and for all of you for joining in along the way. And there is not a single person on this board who hasn't pitched in, stood up, sat on a policy level, gone up to Sacramento, stood here and debated and, worked with staff to get where we are today. So I really want to thank this board and all the work you've done over the years. It really is amazing. I think this is something every single elected official in San Mateo County can be incredibly proud of this. We have to get the word out now, and we will. But I will take any questions or comments that anyone has. I know it's late. Yes.
It is late, but I do just want to.
Oh, please.
So
I just want to echo some of Chair Colson's comments and note that I just feel very privileged to be here tonight to walk through an awe-inspiring 5-year period for this organization that I feel a lot of us already really loved 5 years ago. I think from the beginning when we heard some, last year outgoing Supervisor Dave Pine, we talked a bit at this table about some of the origins of this concept and this organization and this product. And even then, it seemed like the greatest thing the county had done in quite some time, if not ever. But to continue to build onto that and to not settle for merely performing better than PG&E, but instead to strive for, you know, world-class success that can be a benchmark for others, is just amazing, and I'm just privileged to be a part of it.
The chair. We're passing around the laptop, Colleen, so figure I'd go next since I'm here. I just wanted to thank personally my predecessor, Larry May, and all of you that have been around on this board from the beginning, or at least for this
last 5 years, because while it's very nice to be thanked, it's really, you know, it's easy for us now with all the great board onboarding through Nellie and everything else. So, and also those slides were so, painstakingly prepared, and I know you guys had your board retreat, but I hope you will share them among the staff so everyone can celebrate everyone else's successes and see the challenges that I know we are meeting. So thank you. Okay. Well, we will, we've all eaten cake already, so I think we're gonna have a number of meetings here between now and the end of the year where we're going to be able to celebrate and, you know, really celebrate the last 10 years, look at the next 10 years, and feel really proud about it. Sean tells me that she will put together a brief sort of KPI summary presentation, something that we could share out. I also think as you do your meetings over the next year, you know, this is what we can share out. So the county and all of our cities, as the staff goes, and it doesn't always have to be you. You have plenty of competent people who can come, and dividing it up would be a good idea. But I do think it's important for the community to know what we do, especially right now in this political environment. Last, public comment. Oh, public comment on the very important, item, just review, anything? All right, clear. Close public comment. Last thing is just any board member reports or discussions. Oh,
I just have announcements.
Yes,
Is that
please.
okay? So Daly City, we're in festival season. So on October 4th, we have one of our largest festivals, Kasiyan sa Daly City, which is our Filipino American History Month celebration. We'll be having that at Gellert Park from 11 a.m. to about 6. And that's gonna be a large event. We're having folks from all over the nation coming in, perform. And then we have our second annual Top of the Hill Festival, October 18th. You can go up there, John Daly or Daly City Bar, just walk up. It's gonna be a very, very large event as well. We have a couple of Hawaiian reggae performers on the way, and Spawn Breezy that's gonna be coming in. And so if anybody wants to come through, it's gonna be popping. So come through.
All right. Okay. Anything else? We're good. All right. With that then, I think we can close our meeting, and we will see you all at the end of October at our big meeting. What else? now?
That starts at 5:30.
That starts at 5:30. We're gonna have dinner here. You can come and join us early for dinner. Come at 5, 4 to 5. We'll feed you, and it's gonna be a longer meeting because this is gonna be our review of the year and a half we've been working on the new strategic plan and the presentation. And the launch for the next 5 years, as well as the discussion of the naming. And we may have some really other excellent, amazing announcements around our staffing that I think you'll all be excited to hear.
Wow, so mysterious.
All right, everybody.
Right.
All right. Thanks, everybody.